Remember I said we were going to have sound for this? I lied. I lie all the time. Hi, guys. It's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. So we made it to the 6th day of OJ. Yep. And remember, this is just the preliminary hearing, so we're only getting tiny little snippets of what we're going to see later. I know that chauffeur that was just on the stand, I think I remember a lot from him later, a lot of good stuff from him later. So once we get into the trial. Kelly, we miss you. Come back, Kelly. Um, so, as expected, the main topic of conversation has been the hair in these videos. Except when we're talking about food, which is a lot. But anyway, we're going to go back to the hair. It's the same day. So, what day are we on? Let's look. So we're on July 5th. So they had the first day, then they were off for a few days for the 4th of July, and this guy is still on the stand. I'm going to try to get 2 done today, if possible. This one's 43 minutes long, and the next one's like 50 minutes long. Oh, thank you, Lori. So, I know, because public speaking is hard. Did you know that? And I'm talking to a screen. I'm talking to a screen. So I get a little bouncy because it's just not easy. Ugh, it's horrible. So we're going to let them do the talking. Hey. I wonder where he is now.
He carried him.
The defendant carried them?
Yeah.
Nothing further?
Mr. Shapiro, did you wish to cross-examine at this time?
Oh my God. Victoria and Linus are here at the same time. I had a dream like this last night.
Morning, Mr. Park.
Good morning.
Mr. Park, you understand the serious nature.
Objection, Your Honor.
The legal grounds for your objection?
It's argumentative.
I haven't yet even heard the entire question. Do you want to finish your question, Mr. Shapiro?
Yes, I would like to.
That was awesome.
Do you understand the serious nature for which you're testifying here today?
Objection, Your Honor.
And your objection is this argumentative?
Yes, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Why would Mr. Shapiro assume that he did not understand the seriousness of the charges? There's been no indication of that.
You can answer the question. Sir?
I don't understand what you mean. The serious of me
Oh my
testifying?
God, what are you wearing?
Do you know what this matter concerns your testimony?
Oh, yes.
What is it concern?
It concerns a murder trial.
And therefore, you want to be very careful with your testimony to make sure you don't make any errors. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you want to be very sure every time you testified under oath that you would not make any errors. Is that correct?
Same objection, Your Honor. I think no other witness has been subjected to this kind of intimidation. I think this is highly inappropriate. There's been no reason to indicate that this witness does not take his oath very seriously and is testifying as accurately as he can.
The objection's overruled.
Beck, it's clear that both Victoria and Linus, oh no, not Linus, just Victoria said hi and then went to do something and missed it all. So now we'll just make her guess what was said.
You may answer the question, sir.
Can you repeat it?
You understand that when you testify under oath that there is an obligation to tell the truth.
Yes.
Have you done so?
Yes.
How many times have you testified under oath regarding the subject matter that you testified here today to?
Once.
Once before or only once?
I don't understand the nature of the question.
How many times have you testified under oath to the subject matter that you testified to in court today?
One time.
And that was when?
At the grand jury.
And you also testified today?
Yes.
That's be twice.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Correct.
And before the grand jury, you were under oath, were you not?
Yes, I was.
And that was on June 21st, about a week ago? Is that correct?
Correct.
And when you testified there, was your memory as to the events that you saw at the Simpson residence better than it was today?
I'd say it's the same.
Did you testify on page 257, line 11, in regard to the individual you described as a male or female today? And just seconds after that, I saw a black male, 6'1", 100 and 200 pounds, come from the area that I saw him from was about. Did you give that testimony to the grand jury, sir?
If it's there, I did.
Do you recall giving that testimony to the grand jury?
Yes, I do.
And was that discrepancy called to your attention by anyone before you testified today?
I don't understand what you're...
Has anyone pointed out to you before you testified that before the grand jury you said it was a male, black, and that today you gave testimony that it was either a male or a female, you couldn't tell which?
Objection, Your Honor. Nobody's had a chance to point anything out to him. You only just said it today.
The objection is overruled.
The only thing that I can say here is that the person that I described is 6 foot, 200 pounds. It just seems to be a pretty big female.
That wasn't my question, sir. Did anyone discuss with you the fact that you might have on another occasion said it was either a male or female, you couldn't tell which?
Yes.
Who pointed that out to you?
Who pointed what out?
You testified at the grand jury that it was a male black. Is that correct?
Yes.
You testified here today that it was a male or female, you couldn't tell which. Is that correct?
Yes.
Prior to your testimony today, has anyone pointed out that there may be a discrepancy in the testimony that you gave at the grand jury and the testimony that you were going to give today?
No.
You ever described the person as 6 feet, 180 pounds?
Not that I remember.
Did you ever describe the other individual as 5'10", 160 pounds?
I could have.
Did you ever describe Mr. Simpson as coming out of the house wearing a black overcoat?
Yes, I do.
Overruled. You can answer the question.
I remember him wearing some kind of a coat.
Did you ever tell anyone that the person came out was wearing an overcoat, a black overcoat?
Yes, I did.
Why didn't you say that when Miss Clark asked you how the man was dressed this morning?
I guess I just didn't give full detail.
Did you say that to the grand jury that the man was wearing an overcoat?
I don't remember.
Did you read your grand jury testimony?
No, I
before you
didn't.
Testified here.
No, I didn't.
Was it shown to you by anyone?
No, it wasn't.
Did you discuss your testimony before you testified here today with anyone?
Yes, my mom.
Other than your mother, did you discuss it with anyone else?
My boss.
Other than your, who's your boss?
Dale St. John of Town and Country Limo.
When did you discuss it with him?
Days after.
And when did you discuss it with your mother?
Just a few days after.
Have you discussed it with anyone else?
The police.
How many times did you discuss it with the police?
I was interviewed once, but there was phone calls for other questions here and there.
Did you receive the phone calls first or the interview first?
Well, they called me and just asked me to come down.
So you didn't discuss anything on the phone?
No.
Do you recall what date you went down?
The 15th of,
Where did you go?
to the Harbor District, the police department there in San Pedro.
What time did you arrive?
9:30, 9 o'clock.
To whom did you speak?
To Paul Tippin and Brian Carr.
How long did you speak with them?
2 hours.
Was that interview tape recorded?
Not that I know of.
Did they did they take notes of your conversation?
Yes, they did.
Did they reduce those notes to a report that you know of?
No.
Did they ever have you sign a statement or a report?
No.
Did you meet with them again that day?
No, I didn't.
Did you meet with any other detectives that day?
No.
Is that the only time you've ever met with detectives?
I met him after that.
When did you meet after that?
They were at the grand jury.
Did they take your statement at the grand jury?
No, they didn't.
So you just saw them casually at the grand jury?
Yes.
So as far as formal statement interviews to any law enforcement officer whatsoever, you've only given one, and that was on the 15th,
Yes.
for 2 hours.
About.
Was it before or after that you talked to your mother?
It was before.
How much before?
Tuesday.
What time did you talk to your mother?
After I, she was there when I was talking over the phone with Mr. Simpson's lawyers.
When did you talk to Mr. Simpson's lawyers?
The 14th, I believe.
And was that in the evening?
It was towards the evening, yes.
And did you place the phone call?
Yes, I called them.
And did you call an office known as Leroy Taft's office?
So I don't know what office it was. I just called the phone number.
Did you speak to two people who identified themselves as lawyers there?
Yes.
Was one Mr. Leroy Taft? Or identifying himself as Leroy Taft?
Leroy Taft? That
Skip
name?
Taft?
Skip Taft. That rings a bell.
Did the other identify himself as Robert Shapiro?
I think it was just Bob.
And was this on a speakerphone?
Yes, it was.
And at this time, your mother was listening?
She was sitting next to me, yes.
And this is the first time you gave any statement to anyone regarding this incident, is that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
How long was that statement?
Half an hour? I don't know.
Have you ever heard any recording of that statement?
Have I?
Yes.
Yes, I have.
When did you hear that?
Last Friday.
Where did you hear that?
Upstairs.
Who played it for you?
We're in Los Angeles, so everybody's beautiful here and everybody has tans here. The rest of the world wouldn't have that haircut.
The district attorney.
And was it at that time that you realized you made this statement, I couldn't tell whether it was a male or female?
Yes, I heard that.
And did anybody point out at that point in time that when you told the grand jury you said it was a male?
No.
Did anyone ask you if there were any discrepancies in your testimony or in your statement that you gave to myself and Mr. Taft?
No.
At that time, did you tell Mr. Taft and myself that you couldn't tell whether or not that person could have been O.J. Simpson?
Repeat that?
Did you tell Mr. Taff and myself that during the conversation on the 14th, that the person that walked into the house in dark clothing was somebody you couldn't tell whether or not it was O.J. Simpson?
Yes.
And did you tell us that evening that after you buzzed the intercom about 2 minutes later, Mr. Simpson came on?
I don't recall.
Hi, Twitter.
And that you could recognize Mr. Simpson's voice?
Yes, I could recognize his voice.
And you asked him at that time, you told him at that time that you were there, and he said, I've been here for a few minutes?
No.
You never said that?
No.
Did you ever say that, I've been here for a few minutes?
I told the white male at the home.
It was at that time that we asked you how Mr. Simpson was dressed when he came out. You said he was wearing blue jeans, a white shirt, and another kind of overcoat, a black overcoat?
Yes.
All that? Was that a heavy overcoat?
No.
Did you know he was going to Chicago?
Yes.
Did you know what the weather was like in Chicago?
I have no idea.
How do you know what the weight of the overcoat was?
The weight?
Yeah.
It just looked thin.
Did you ever carry it?
No.
Did you ever try it on?
No.
Do you know what material it was made of?
Couldn't tell you.
Do you know if it had a lining?
No.
Did you tell us that when you pulled in, he already had a couple of bags on the porch?
Yes.
That he went over to his cars and got another bag?
Yes.
Did you see Mr.
I can't remember his name. He's the limo driver.
Simpson walk in and out of the house at all?
He walked in a couple times.
How many times?
2 or 3.
Other than carrying his bags or luggage out, did you see him carrying anything else out of the house?
I promise when we get into the trial, you will know. Lori's not going to answer, guys. Lori's just not answering.
No.
Now, did you put Mr. Simpson's bags in the trunk?
Some.
How many did you put in?
From what I can remember, 3.
What about the golf bag? Where did the golf bag end up?
In the trunk.
Who put it there?
I can't remember if it was the white male or Mr. Simpson.
Now, when I asked you about the person that was coming in and out of the house, did you say the following? I'm going to say he was a good 6'1", 180 pounds. Did you say that?
I could have.
What time did you tell us you left Mr. Simpson's house for the airport?
Time I left, 11:15.
Is that what you told us?
I can't remember.
Could you have told us a different time?
Could have. It would have been right around there.
Would have been earlier or later?
Could have been either one. I don't know.
You're not sure these times, are you?
I don't know what I told you. I know what time I left. It had to have been right around 11:15, 10 after 11.
Well, you wouldn't lie to me when I talk to you, would you?
No.
Objection. Objection, that was argumentative, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Every night, every morning.
What time did you arrive at the airport?
About 11:35.
Now, by judging these times, when did the times become important to you?
When did they become important? They weren't important to me at the night. But I just kind of on a schedule, so I do remember times.
And what were you using to gauge the time?
My watch,
What kind of watch do you wear?
a wristwatch.
Oh, please say swatch. Please say you're wearing a swatch.
Well, can you describe it a little better than that?
It's
Is it an automatic watch, a wind-up watch?
it's got a battery. It's not wind up. It's got hands on it.
Are you wearing that watch right now? Excuse me. Are you wearing
Yes.
the watch now? You were looking at your wrist.
Yes.
You want to just hold that up, maybe? All right. He's wearing on the left wrist a wristwatch or something.
When's the last time you checked that watch with some official time?
I look at clocks all the time. It seems to be okay to me.
Same clock at the same time as in the courtroom now?
Yes.
What time is your clock set?
It says about 16 after 10.
You remember when the last time you set that watch was?
Last time I said it,
Yeah.
I just said it on the 1st.
Because you changed the dates, right?
Yes.
And you don't recall when you set it prior to that, do you?
No.
You testified that you've been working for Town and Country Limousine for the last 2.5 months.
2.5, 3 months, yes.
Did you tell us you've been working there for 5 months?
Not that I remember. I might have said I've been driving.
He's trying to show he's lying about the time and everything else that he's talking about.
Limos for 5 months.
And is that the case?
Yes.
What other, do you work for any other limousine company?
I didn't work for a company. I just worked for a private owner.
How long have you worked for that person?
It was about 2 months, 2.5 months.
And then you got the job with Town and Country?
Yes.
Was that a full-time job at the time?
No. No.
And did you have any scheduled hours that you worked?
Nope.
When did you first receive notification that you were going to have a pickup at O.J. Simpson's house?
It had to have been sometime in the morning, 10, 11 o'clock.
Where did you receive that notification?
From my boss. He lives across the street.
Did he just walk over, or did he call you?
I can't remember if he came over or called.
And what did he tell you?
He told me I had to pick up at 7 o'clock earlier in the night at LAX, picking up a couple clients and taking them to Beverly Hills. And then he told me I had to pick up at 10:45 at Mr. Simpson's house.
Where did you start for your 7 o'clock pickup at LAX?
Where'd I start?
Where'd you leave from?
From his house in Torrance.
So he has his cars at his house?
Yes.
And what type of vehicle were you driving?
A Lincoln Town Car.
What is the size of that car?
It's a stretch. I don't know what the length of it is.
Do you know if stretches come in different lengths?
Yes, they do.
And you don't know what the length of this car is?
No.
What time did you leave for the airport for that pickup?
To the airport?
Yes.
6. We got a phone call, which we found out the plane was coming in early. The pickup was at 7 o'clock, and we found out they were coming in at 6:30, so I left at about 6 o'clock.
What airlines did you go to the pickup?
It was British Airways or something like that.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
Not sure.
Not positive.
What was the flight number?
I don't remember this stuff.
What was the name of the parties you were picking up?
It was Bill Taylor and another person,
What was the other person's name?
Keith something.
Don't remember the last name of the
No, he wasn't important. He was just with Bill Taylor.
What time did you pick up their luggage? At the airport?
No, they just carried it off. It's just a short.
Carry on?
Yeah.
How many bags did each of them have?
Bill Taylor had 2, and the other guy had 1.
Would you describe those bags, please?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at them. I never handled them.
Where did you first see them?
The bags are him, the people,
Both.
getting off the flight.
Were you at the
I was at the gate.
gate? Did you have a sign up to their name?
Yes, I did.
And the people came up to you?
Yes.
So you saw them carrying bags?
Yes.
Would you describe the bags they were carrying?
Objection, asked and answered.
Sustained.
They carried their own bags to your limousine?
I wasn't driving the limousine at that time.
Who was driving the limousine?
I was in a... I had to make a switch. I was in a town car. Just a regular town car.
What kind of car were you driving?
Lincoln town car.
What color?
White.
And where did you put the bags that these two gentlemen had?
I popped the trunk and they put them in there.
They put them in.
Yeah.
Where did you take them?
To the Peninsula Hotel.
What time did you arrive at the Peninsula?
The plane was supposed to be in at 6:30. It didn't arrive until about 6:45. I dropped him off at about 7:30,
Are you sure that time?
around there.
Are you sure those times as you are of the times that you've given us for Mr. Simpson?
If not, I know these times a little bit better.
Why do you know his times better?
Because just the way that everything happened, as I called my boss, what time the pickup was, what time he had to be at the airport, what time we left, what time we arrived. It was just more clear to me. With the phone calls and
Well, you had phone calls with this flight. You had
at home,
indication the flight was late.
we were still at home. I was talking to him personally.
After you dropped off these two gentlemen at the Peninsula Hotel, where did you go?
I came back
Came back where?
home.
What time did you get home?
8 o'clock or so.
8 o'clock or so. Did you judge the time by anything?
Just from when I left the peninsula to the standard time it would take me to get home.
Where do you live? I don't need your exact address, but give me
Torrance.
cross streets, if you might.
182nd and Prairie.
And what did you do when you got home at 8 o'clock?
Well, I had a snack and changed cars and got ready to go.
Where did you change cars?
At his house.
You went back to your boss's house across the street?
Yes.
What time did you go there?
Had to have been 9 o'clock or so. Just to talk to him and make sure that Mr. Simpson was still going.
What did he tell you?
He said, yeah, so far he knows that the flight's still on, his pickup.
How much time did you spend with your boss at his house at 9 o'clock?
Well, I don't remember. Just a few minutes.
Then what did you do?
Went back home.
How long did you stay home?
Pathetic.
Till about 9:45.
What did you do at that time?
Left,
How were you dressed when you left?
just like this, with a coat.
Same exact clothes?
Yep.
Pardon?
Yes.
Same tie, same shirt, same pants?
Yes.
Same shoes, same socks?
Yes.
And 9:45, you leave your house now to go to Rockingham?
Yes.
Were you given directions to Rockingham by anybody?
By my boss, yes.
What were the directions he gave you?
To go up to 405 until sunset and make a left on Sunset going west. Make a right on Rockingham.
See, we didn't need no GPS. We remembered things like that.
And then just go to the address?
Yes.
Can you give me any other specific information as to what to have or what to do when you were picking up Mr. Simpson?
Not that I recall
Are
now.
there some people that like beverages in a car, newspapers, things like that in the limousine business?
For some people, but he didn't give me any special instructions. There's
So
usually...
just pick him up and take him to the airport?
Yeah.
Did he tell you what flight he was going on?
American Airlines. That was just where to drop him off.
And he gave you that information earlier in the morning, didn't he?
Yes.
And did he tell you what time the flight was leaving?
He just said he had to be at the airport at 11:45 flight.
He gave you the flight number and the information that morning.
I'm not sure if he gave me the flight number. He just said American Airlines is where he usually flies out of.
You didn't clock out with your boss when you left your house to go pick up Mr. Simpson, did you?
No.
And you don't keep any time records where you record the times on a timesheet or anything?
No.
So you're approximating this, are you not?
Yes.
And most of the times that you're talking about, you're approximating.
Yes.
No objection. Withdraw.
Is that what Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Shapiro, let me just ask you, do you have a substantially more cross-examination for the witness?
Well, that's what I'm reviewing right now, Your Honor.
It might be appropriate for us to take our morning recess at this point in
Thank
time,
you, Your Honor.
15 minutes. And Mr. Park, I'm going to ask you, please do not discuss your testimony with anyone except the lawyers involved in this matter.
Your Honor, may I ask you at this point in time, since you're still under representation, that you not discuss this case with any lawyers?
I think we're on
We're on
cross.
cross-examination, that you not discuss this case with any lawyers?
Well, I think that he has a right to speak to the district attorney if he wishes. Obviously, you could question him concerning that if he does in fact speak to the district attorney.
Your Honor, then may I ask you not to take a recess at this time?
All right.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, well, you do get to step down at this point, and my admonition still applies, do not discuss your testimony with anyone. You may speak to the lawyers in this matter. Oh, I'm sorry. Will it be lengthy?
No.
All right, Mr. Park, again, if I can have you just take a seat for a couple of minutes.
The record reflects that Mr. Park looked at me in a very unfriendly way.
I will be brief, Mr. Park.
Okay.
Are you vague about the time that you arrived at the 360 Rockingham address, sir?
No.
You know that precisely you arrived at 10:25?
I'm going to object to the form of the question, Your Honor.
On what basis?
That it's leading and suggestive.
Sustained.
The witness already testified to that. How could I be leading?
Well, then it's asked and answered.
It's foundational.
There's no reason for foundation. It's already in the record.
Your question was leading.
Mr. Park, are you vague about the time that you arrived at the 360 Rockingham address on the night of June the 12th?
I'm certain.
And why are you certain?
Because when I arrived and parked, I looked at my watch.
And that time was?
At 10:25.
Is there a clock in the car?
Yes, there is.
And did that clock match up to the time on your watch?
It might be a couple minutes off.
Approximately the correct time.
Yes.
Are you vague about when you called your boss?
Yes.
Are you vague about when you pulled down to the Rockingham gate?
Yes.
What times are you certain of?
I'm certain about... I looked at my watch quite a bit, waiting to pick up. I'm certain about the time I arrived. I'm certain about the time I came up to the Ashford gate and started ringing. I'm certain about the time of the call from my boss.
So you're certain of the time that you arrived at that location, 360 Rockingham?
Yes.
And you're certain about the time that
I can't tell you what I just ate, but I'm less cranky now too.
you began to ring the bell at the Ashford gate?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this. This is going over the same exact testimony that's already been listened to.
No, that's
Overruled.
And what time was it that you began to ring the bell that you're certain of?
10:40.
And what time was it that you, and you said, excuse me, strike that, you said you were certain of the time that your boss called you back?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because as he called, I looked at my watch to look at time. He told me to wait until 11:15, so I looked what time it was then to make sure it wasn't 11:15.
So you looked specifically at your watch when he told you to wait until 11:15?
Yes.
And the time was then?
10:55.
And how long after that point that you looked at your watch and saw it was 10:55, that you saw the African-American person who was 6 foot, about 200 pounds, go into the house?
It was a couple minutes. I was on the phone a couple minutes.
And you're certain of that time?
Yes.
Now, you spoke to Mr. Shapiro before you ever spoke to the police or myself in this case, is that correct?
Yes.
You had the interview with him on June the 14th,
From what I remember, yes.
and that was the interview he referred to as being on speakerphone with him?
Yes.
Did you know you were being taped by him at the time, sir?
No, I was never told I was being taped or never asked to be taped.
Mr. Shapiro never told you that he was taping your conversation?
No, never.
And he never asked you permission to tape your conversation?
No, never.
And Mr. Shapiro questioned you about the times during that conversation he had with you on June the 14th? What time you arrived, what time you left?
From what I remember, yes.
And when you spoke to Mr. Shapiro on June the 14th, 1994, you gave him the same times that you've given us in court today, isn't that correct?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Shapiro, do you have any further questions?
No, Your Honor.
I think that this time you can safely step down.
Thank you very
And
much.
I remind you not to discuss your testimony. We will take that recess that I mentioned for 15 minutes.
Thank you very much. Oh, mister, you're coming back. Don't you worry. You're not done. You got a trial to go through. I hear a radio in the background, a song. That's a good question. I'm trying to remember. They said it yesterday. I'll look it up.
All right, we are once again on the record in the case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. People call Mr. Brian Kaelin. Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor, 1 minute.
Face the clerk, sir, and raise your right hand.
Sir,
Clerk is right here.
do solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State and spell your name for the record.
Brian, B-R-I-A-N. Kato, K-A-T-O. Kaelin, K-A-E-L-I-N.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Kaelin.
Morning.
Were you acquainted with someone by the name of Nicole Brown Simpson?
Yes.
When did you meet her?
December of 92.
And where
I
was that?
can.
In Aspen, Colorado.
You were friends?
Yes.
Was there a romantic involvement between you?
No.
Do you recall seeing her again in January of 1993?
Yes.
And on what was that occasion?
There was a party
Where?
in her house,
Which was where?
325 Gretna Green
In Brentwood?
in Brentwood.
Now, that particular house, did it have a guest house behind it?
Yes, it did.
Did you see that guest house when you were at the party?
Yes, I did.
Did you like that guest house?
Yes, I did.
Was anyone living at it at the time?
Just furniture. That was it.
Just furniture?
Right. No person.
Did that give you some ideas?
Yes, it did.
What idea was that?
To move in.
And who did you talk to about that?
To Nicole.
Did you ask to move into the guest house?
Yes, I did.
What was your arrangement?
To clean up the guest house and to move in.
So she agreed to let you do that?
Yes, she did.
For rent?
Yes.
And what rent were you paying?
It was $450 to $500. I sometimes took care of the kids, and she would deduct stuff. She was very nice about everything.
So she would give money off your rent in return for you taking care of the
Yeah.
children?
Yes.
Now, she lived in the main house on Gretna Green?
Yes, she did.
And does anybody live there with her?
Sydney and Justin, her children.
Sydney was how old then?
Sydney, 7.
And Justin?
Is, I think 4.5, 4 3/4, around there.
You indicated a person you knew, Nicole Brown Simpson, showing you what's been marked as People's 3. Can I ask if you recognize the person shown there?
Yes.
And who is that?
Nicole.
The person you've been referring to today?
Yes.
During that time that you were living on Gretna Green in that guest house behind the house, did you meet the defendant?
Yes.
And when I say the defendant, do you see someone in court today that I'm referring to? Do you see that person in court?
Yes.
And what is he wearing?
A suit, coat, and tie.
Color of the suit?
Blue, I think. Dark blue.
Indicating the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, the house on Gretna Green, the guest house, was that separated from the main house?
Yes.
And for how long did you live there?
I lived there until January of 94.
What happened in January of 94?
I moved
Why did you move?
because there was another place to move to.
What about Nicole? Did she move?
Yes, she did.
Where did she move to?
She moved to Bundy in Brentwood.
You did not move with her?
I did not move with her.
Had you planned to move with her initially?
Yes.
The Bundy residence, did you see it?
Yes.
Did it have a separate guest house?
No, it did not.
Where were you going to stay?
It didn't have a separate guest house. It had a separate room. It was part of the house, but it was down some stairs.
And so you were going,
So it was
what did he tell you, Mr. Kaelin?
that he had a place at his house, and I could stay there.
And why did he tell you he wanted you to do that?
That it wouldn't be probably right that for me to be in the house, they're trying to work things out, and I was agreed, and so I said okay.
So he told you that he and Nicole were trying to work things out and it would be better if you stayed at his place.
Yeah, well, then he offered his place, and I said okay.
And how much rent did you pay the defendant to stay at his place?
Nothing. It was OJ gave it to me.
The defendant gave it to you for free?
Yes.
And when did you move in?
January of '94.
You see a diagram there to your left?
Yes.
Now, this diagram that was previously marked equals 7 for identification. Do you recognize what's shown in it?
Yes.
What is it?
It's the house, how it would look
What house?
on Rockingham, OJ's.
The one at 360 Rockingham?
Yes.
Now, can you see your guest house on this diagram?
No.
It's not shown here, is it?
No, it's not.
If the diagram were to extend farther back where I'm standing, which is the opposite end of the area marked Rockingham on this diagram, would the guest house be back here
Yes, it would.
behind the main house?
Yes.
What else is back there where your guest house is?
There's a pool, a jacuzzi, tennis courts, basketball courts together.
Is there a pool house as well?
Yes, there is.
Does the pool house have a bedroom in it?
A bedroom, no.
And how many guest house units are there?
3.
Are they all together or separate?
Separated.
Do they have common walls? Do you know what I mean?
No. I mean, can I hear someone pounding?
No. The guest houses that are behind the main house at 360 Rockingham, are they all connected together
Yes, they are.
so that each of them has a common wall?
Yes.
Now, the area that is shown to the south of the garage, I'm going to point it out to you with my pen. This area right down here. Can you tell us what is in that area?
Back there would be air conditioning units. It's like the back of the house is a little alleyway, shrubs, a little gate that,
Is there a concrete walkway there?
yes,
And is it overhung with some trees coming from the other property?
yes.
Is there a fence?
Yes, I believe there is. From the other house, yeah, it separates.
So is that the area that is the end of the property of 360 Rockingham? In other words, is that the boundary between the 360 Rockingham address and the neighbor's house?
Yes,
Does the back of your guest house, the wall that is the back of your guest house, face onto that little walkway?
yes, it does.
And the back of your air conditioning unit also hang out over that walkway?
Yes.
Is your air conditioning unit installed in a window or a hole in the wall?
It's a hole in the wall.
Directing your attention to June the 12th, 1994, Sunday night, or excuse me, Sunday day. Who was at home in the house that day? Who did you see in the house at 360 Rockingham?
OJ,
The defendant?
yes.
Anyone else?
I didn't see anyone else in the house now.
What time was it when you saw the defendant for the first time at the house on 360 Rockingham?
I think it was about 2:30 in the afternoon.
Did you have a conversation with him?
Yes.
And what was that conversation about?
I asked about his golf game. I said, no, he went golfing.
He told you he went golfing?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes, he went golfing. I asked how he did. He said he did great. And then he played cards.
Did he say where he played cards?
No.
Did he mention what else he was going to do that day?
There was a dance recital that he was going to go to.
For who?
For Sydney, his daughter.
What time was that recital for his daughter Sydney supposed to begin?
5 o'clock.
Notice anything unusual about the defendant's behavior at that time?
No.
Did he mention anything to you about Nicole?
At 2:30, around that time?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
No.
Do you recall him mentioning at some point during that day that he was through with Nicole?
Oh, that it was over, the relationship was over? Yes. Yeah,
When
it
did
was,
he tell you that?
Oh, it was just something in kind of passing that they were not together anymore.
Sometime during that day?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
Do you recall what time it was?
In the afternoon, I don't know the exact time.
Could it have been around that 2:30 time that
It
you
was
just
during the
described?
conversation, yes.
And when he told you that, well, can you recount for us his exact words?
No, not the exact words.
Can you describe the tone of voice in which he told you that?
It was casual. It was,
Did not sound angry.
no.
What was the very next time you saw the defendant that day?
I believe it was after the recital.
About what time was that?
I'm guessing about 6:30, 7, around there. The exact time I don't know, but I think it's about...
Around 7?
Yeah, the playoff games ended, that's all, I remember that.
What
it's about,
playoff game was that?
Houston and the Knicks. But so it was
And-
after that, it's about 6:37.
Do you have a conversation with the defendant?
Yes.
What? I thought I thought Texans had boots like we have gloves and beanies. You only have one pair of boots? Are you really a Texan?
About what?
I asked how the recital was, and how Sydney was, and she was great.
Is that what he said? She was great?
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes, she was great.
You have to say yes and no, because this lady does not have a button for mm-hmm. Okay?
You should get one.
Okay, what was the defendant's mood like at that point, about 7 o'clock?
Not upbeat, not downbeat. I thought he was tired.
Did he seem relaxed?
Yes.
Make any mention of Nicole?
At the second conversation,
Yes, at about 7 o'clock. Did the defendant mention anything to you about Nicole?
that you saw her at the dance recital,
And what else did he say?
that her and a friend, they were wearing tight outfits.
And
And it
make
was,
some mention about that? Make some comment about that?
it was a comment of being able to dress that way when they're older.
And what was his tone of voice? Was it angry?
No.
What was it?
Kind of matter of fact.
What was he saying? He wondered how they'd look in those outfits when they got older?
Yes.
Was that it? I'm
No, it
asking
was-
you.
Oh, it was the exact wording. I don't know. Was if they're going to be grandmas, they can't wear those outfits. Something like that. When they're older.
Okay. So you spoke to the defendant for how long at that point?
I don't know the exact how many minutes. About a half hour.
Okay. What happened after that?
I asked if I could take a jacuzzi.
And did he say yes?
Yes.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Fozzie, that word is boots.
And for how long did you stay in the jacuzzi?
I stayed in there about a half hour.
Had you ever used the jacuzzi before?
No.
Was that the first time?
Yeah, I mean, I swam in it once before, but I never actually used it, sat in it to use it.
How long did you stay in the jacuzzi?
I think it was about a half hour.
So you got out about when?
I think when I got out of there it was about 8:30. About.
And after you got out of the jacuzzi, what did you do next?
I made a phone call
To who?
to a friend named Susan.
And while you were on the phone, did you have contact, when you were on the phone with Susan, did you have contact with someone else?
No, I don't think it was.
Did you see the defendant while you were on the phone with Susan?
No. I think it was after he came to my room.
The defendant came to your room?
Yes.
And what did he say to you?
That I forgot to turn the jacuzzi off.
And by that time, were you still on the phone with Susan? Or had you hung up?
I think I hung up.
And what did the defendant say to you?
To remember to turn off the jacuzzi next time I use it. And he asked me if I was done with the jacuzzi, and I said, yes, I'm done. Sorry, I didn't turn it off.
And did you come out of your room to say that to him? To have that conversation?
I was at my doorway, I believe.
Where was he?
Outside the door.
How many feet away were you from each other?
I think 3 feet.
Did you notice any injury to his hands or that he was bleeding from his hands in any way?
No.
Was there anything unusual about his behavior at that time?
No.
So he told you that you'd left the jets on in the jacuzzi?
Yes.
What else did he say?
Next time I use it, turn it off. The jets.
Okay. Did you go and turn off the jets then?
No, he had to turn the jets off.
And what did you do after that?
I made a phone call.
So you went back in your room?
I went back in my room.
And who did you call this time?
A friend of mine in town.
And during that phone call, did you have contact with the defendant?
Yes.
What happened?
He came by and he needed to borrow money because he had $100 bills and he wanted to have 5 for a sky cap to tip the sky cap. And so I lent him money.
Now, when he came out to the guest house at that point, while you were on the phone with Tom, did he call out to you or did he just show up at your door and knock?
Oh, he called out to me.
What did he call you? By what name?
Kato.
Kato. Is that your nickname?
Yes.
So he asked to borrow money for a sky cap?
Sky cap, and he was going to get a burger.
And what was your response?
Sure. What do you need? I didn't know. Whatever I had was.
So did you get money for him?
Yes.
How much money did you give him?
$20.
And did you put that, was it a $20 bill?
$20 bill.
Did you put it in his hand?
Yes.
Did you notice any injury to his hand?
No, I did not.
What was the defendant wearing at that time?
I don't know the exact clothing. I thought it was a sweat outfit.
Sweat outfit? Like sweatshirt or nylon type?
A warm-up. I believe. I mean, I'm not positive on that, but I think it was a warm-up outfit.
Can you remember what kind of material it was, or could you tell at the time?
No, I could not.
What color was it?
It was dark.
Black?
A dark color.
Was it black?
I mean, it was dark outside. It was a dark color. I mean, could have been dark blue.
I disagree, Drunken, because I know $20 is $20.
Black.
One of those.
Right.
All right. Did it have long sleeves?
Yes.
After you gave the defendant a $20 bill, what did you next do?
Oh, well, I asked if I could go to McDonald's with him.
And he said,
Yes,
what did you do?
I went to McDonald's with him.
Okay, did you leave?
Yes, we left.
Okay, did you walk through the main house to do that?
Yes, we did.
And what, did you get into a car with him?
Yes,
What car did you get into?
Miss Rolls Royce.
Who drove?
I'm OJ.
The defendant?
Yes.
Can you look at the diagram to your left, that's people 7, and indicate, if you will, where the Rolls Royce was parked when you got into it that night to go to McDonald's? Please. Okay, for the record, the witness is pointing. Will you please take the pen and put an R there? For the record, the witness has placed an R, a large R on the diagram. Let me also ask you, sir, if you would. Point out on this diagram, if you can, on this, these photographs that have been marked as people 6, if you can see the area where the Rolls was parked that night when you went out to McDonald's. And was it parked in the same place it's shown in the photograph labeled as F?
Yes.
Was it pointing out towards the Rockingham gate that way as well?
Yes.
Was that usually where that Rolls Royce was kept parked, sir?
Yes.
What time was it when you left
After borrowing $42.60 first, Steve.
for the, left to get burgers?
It was about 9:10.
And what gate did you exit through?
The gate? The
Yes.
gate that's on Rockingham.
The Rockingham gate. Is that the gate shown in photograph F of people 6?
Yes.
Did you notice any injury to the defendant's hands as he drove the Rolls Royce to go get something to eat?
No, I did not.
When you left out, when you went out the Rockingham gate,
Did they have them in in 93? 94. Did they have McRibs? I don't remember that. I don't think they did, but I don't know. I don't know if they had supersized back then too, but I think they might have.
did you look to see whether there were any cars parked near the Rockingham gate?
I did not.
Do you know, sir, whether the defendant owned a white Ford Bronco?
Did I know if he owned one?
Yes.
Yes.
Had you seen it around the property?
Yes.
And had you seen it around the property from the time you moved in January of 94?
Yes.
Was there one particular place where he would always park it?
It wasn't, it could be in driveway. It was on Ashford, you know, the street Ashford. It was inside the gated area. It wasn't a set spot ever, I mean, but normally my car would be parked on Ashford with it.
So you used to park either in front or behind the white Ford Bronco?
Yeah, on the same road.
And that would be on the Ashford side?
The Ashford side.
And that would be inside the gate?
No, it could be it could be parked outside. It could
We truly did have everything in the 80s. Everything.
be parked inside. Normally it was parked outside on Ashford.
Normally parked outside the Ashford gate? Is that right?
The Ashford side. Correct.
Can you tell us, do you see the Ashford side gate in these photographs, sir?
Yes.
Which one is that?
A.
And for the record, when I say these photographs, again, I was referring to people 6. Now, the white Ford Bronco I've been referring to, Your Honor, I've asked that this series of photographs labeled A through F, We mark collectively as People's 8. Do you see these photographs, Mr. Kano?
Yes.
Can you tell us if you recognize the vehicle shown in photograph A of People's 8?
Do I recognize it? Yes, the Bronco.
Is
Yes.
that the white Ford Bronco that you recognize as belonging to the defendant?
Yes.
And the one that was parked, well, that was always parked at the Ashford side gate?
It was, yeah, it was, that's the white Bronco, yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object
May I-
to, excuse me, may I continue my objection? I'm going to object to the statement by the prosecutor that it was always parked on the Ashford side gate. This states the opposite.
Sustained.
Was that white Ford Bronco, to your knowledge, when you were living there from January of 94 through June of 94, was that vehicle, the white Ford Bronco, always parked at the Ashford gate?
Not always, but it would be parked in Ashford. But not always on Ashford.
Where else would it be parked?
It could be parked inside the lot. And
If it was parked inside the gate, would it be on the Ashford side of the gate? The Ashford gate that it was parked? You know what I mean? You have the driveway that goes out the driveway that leads to the Ashford gate, and you have the driveway that leads to the Rockingham gate. Right?
right,
If it was parked inside the gate, would it be on the Ashford side of the driveway?
the front of the house, it'd be parked in the front of the house, so you'd have to back it up, I guess, to go. You could go through either way
You could go through and go out Rockingham, or else go through and go out Ashford.
with the gate, correct?
And when it was parked outside the gate, though, was it parked on Ashford?
Well, most of the time it would be in Ashford.
He sounds legit to me so far.
So is it your testimony, sir, that it was normally parked on the Ashford side, outside the Ashford gate?
Normally.
On the way to McDonald's, did you happen to notice the time?
Yes, it did.
And where were you when you noticed what time it was?
At 26th and Simpson. There's a stoplight.
What time was it when you got to 26 and San Vicente?
It was 9:18, 9:15 and 9:18 was right in there on the clock in the car.
How long after that did you get to McDonald's?
About 7 minutes.
Nan, come on. Nan, go steal the Bronco. Nan, go steal the Bronco and lead it on a chase. Lead it on a low-speed chase. Come on, Nan. Do it for us.
And did you go into the restaurant, or did you drive to the takeout window, to the takeout window?
The drive-through.
A drive-through window, thank you. Was that on your side or on the defendant's side?
It was on the driver's side, the window.
When he pulled up to the window, did you have to pay first and then get your food later?
Yes.
Who paid?
Yeah, we don't want you to get away with it. We want you to we want them to slow chase you. We want all the news cameras on you. Do you know how many news cameras would be on you that day? Another O.J. Simpson chase in his Bronco. Oh, man. 2 more beers and I'm coming down myself.
For the food?
I paid because he had 20, so I had another 20, so I paid for the food.
And did you hand a second $20 bill then to the defendant to pay?
Yes.
And what did he do with that $20 bill you gave him in the car?
Paid McDonald's.
Did you see him do that?
Yes.
And did he get change back?
Change back?
Okay. Did you notice any injury to his hands at that time?
No.
Did you drive forward and get the food at the second window?
Yes, we did.
Did he take that food?
Yes.
What did he do with it?
He took the food.
Yes. Where did he put it?
The bag was in his lap. Then he gave me my stuff, my food.
So he was, and what did he do with his food?
He ate.
Listen, it's OJ's. It's OJ's Bronco. No one can take that away. I don't care who owned it. Isn't he charming? Isn't he?
It.
And he drove at the same time?
Yes.
And he did that on the way back to the house at Rockingham?
Yes.
Did you eat your food as well?
No, I had a few French fries, but that was it. I didn't eat the main course.
So, you can call it that.
Yeah.
So he drove and he ate his dinner at the same time on the way back to Rockingham?
Yes.
Did you notice any injury to his hands at that time?
No, I did not.
Or bleeding?
No.
What time did you get home?
About 9:40, 9:45, around there.
Which gate did you enter through, Ashford or Rockingham?
I don't remember.
Do you remember where the defendant parked the rolls?
Same spot as the picture we
The
saw
spot.
before.
The spot you indicated on
F.
thank you, photograph that of people's 6. All right, will you describe the defendant's demeanor at that time when you got back from McDonald's? How did he appear to you?
Thought tired.
Tired?
I thought tired, yes.
Other than that, anything unusual?
No.
What did you do when you got back to the residence?
I got out and went to my room to eat.
You took your food back to your room?
Yes, I did.
Did you see where the defendant went?
No, I did not. He got out of the car, so.
Now, who else was in the house that night when you came back from McDonald's? Other than you and the defendant, was there anyone else around?
Not that I knew of, no.
Can you tell us who usually occupied the other 2 guest units?
Arnell, that was his daughter,
Mhm.
and the maid, housekeeper.
Housekeeper? Were you acquainted with the defendant's, one of the defendant's sons named Jason?
Yes, I know Jason.
And approximately how old is he?
25?
Did he have a guest unit there that he stayed in?
No.
Did you see him there that day?
No.
Was he there that night?
No.
So neither Arnell nor Jason was there that night?
No.
And Gigi was
From what I
not?
knew, I didn't see them, so. No, they weren't.
And the housekeeper that the defendant had in, who stayed in the 3rd unit, guest unit, was she there that night?
No.
When you got back to your room, what did you do?
I ate my sandwich and called my friend back up.
For how long did you talk to your friend?
I think about 10, 15 minutes.
And what did you do after that?
After that, I was going to type up some letters, so I went to type up some letters, but the typewriter wasn't working. So I made another phone call.
Who did you call?
My friend Rachel.
And what time was it when you called her?
I called her at about 10:10, around there.
During that phone call, did something unusual occur?
Yeah, I heard a noise.
Now, how long had you been talking to your friend Rachel when you heard that noise?
It was probably a half hour into the conversation.
Okay, so about 10:40 or so you heard a noise?
It's about that time.
Can you describe for us the noise you heard, Mr. Kaelin?
It was, you know, in my room, it has this wall and it's like that.
For the record, the witness thumped on the witness stand with his fist.
And you hit the witness stand like 3 times or so. Was that 3 noises that you heard?
I believe it was 3 noises. It was thumping.
It sounded like 3 thumps.
Yes.
And where did the thump seem to come from?
Right behind the bedroom wall, where my bed would be.
You said you have an air conditioning unit in a hole in the wall?
Yes,
Was it in the same wall that the air conditioning unit was in?
yes,
Was it near the air conditioning unit that the thump seemed to come from?
yes.
What happened when you heard those thumps?
Well, I was on the phone and I asked Rachel, I said, I think we had an earthquake. Do we have an earthquake? And no, she'd said, and I noticed my picture would move, so I started thinking that maybe there was a person back there. And then I have this little flashlight, and I was going to investigate.
So there was a picture on that wall also. Is that yes?
Yes, there was a picture.
And that moved when you heard the noises?
Yeah, almost moved off the wall.
So the area that you're talking about, if this diagram were to go farther to your left, my right, it would be along this pathway, the south pathway that you trace with a line here, that's just below the garage on the diagram.
Yes,
And the wall of your guest house that you're referring to where you heard the thumps is the wall that faces onto that little pathway?
yes.
Okay, so after you heard those thumps, you indicated before you thought it was an earthquake or maybe someone outside?
Right, I said to her on the phone, it's a joke, I just said, if I don't call back in 10 minutes, start to worry.
And were you worried?
Yes,
Were you scared?
yes,
Did you think it might be a prowler?
yes.
So what did you do?
Well, I got this little flashlight and I went out to check on the noise.
Now you hung up the phone how long after you heard the thumps?
About 2 to 3 minutes, pretty fast. I hung up the phone.
Pretty fast?
I'm pretty sure I did. I might have talked about the noise for a bit, but then I hung up and said I was going to go and do it and check on it. So 2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, do you recall testifying before the grand jury that it was 1 to 5 minutes?
Yes. That's in the range, right?
That's in the range, yes. It could have been as little as 1 minute.
It might have been, yes.
So the time between hearing the thumps and you hanging up the phone could have been as little as 1 minute, as much as 5 minutes?
Yes.
You took the flashlight with you?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go?
To the area from my room, I went around and went to the garage area.
When you say you went to the garage area, what part of the garage area did you go to?
Well, I walked down the pathway just a bit.
And you mean the area you've indicated earlier that would be just below where it's indicating garage on that diagram? And you're pointing to it now. Is that the area where you've previously kind of drawn a line?
Yes.
How did you get to that area? What path did you take to get there?
From my room,
Yes.
there's a path that I followed to the front area,
So did you walk through the pool area?
through the pool area.
And then is there a grassy portion on the Ashford side of the house?
This grass, right, but I stayed on the cement
You
and
stay
just,
on the path
and then walked to that area.
to the garage area?
Yes.
When you came out on the path, on the Ashford side of the house, can you show us that path and mark it?
Say it again, what was that?
The path that you say you walked on?
Right.
That's on the Ashford side of the house. Could you please mark that on the diagram?
So if I was in my room back here, this would be the path right here. Like that.
Okay. For the record, the witness has traced a path. I would like for you to mark that path.
This path?
Yes, mark the path indicating where you should put a B. No, we already have a B. Put a K on that path. Thank you, Mr. Kaelin. And the witness has marked the path with a K where he's indicated. So you walk down that path to the driveway, down the driveway, past the garage, and down the south, over to the southern corner of the garage.
I only went so far the first time, about that far.
For the record, why don't you mark where that is? Put K1. You can step down. Thank you. For the record, the witness has placed K1 on the diagram. That's where you stopped?
Yes.
When you first came out on the path, sir, did you notice anything or anyone in the driveway or at the gate?
The limousine.
Did you see anyone sitting in the car?
I couldn't tell if someone was in the car or not. It's just the car was there.
Did you stop to talk to that person or let them in the gate?
Not the first time.
Why not?
Because I figured there's a intercom phone there that the person took care of everything. He probably called the house.
Can the gate be opened from inside the house electronically?
Yes.
Now, when you went around to the Ashford side gate, when you first came out on the path, were the lights in the house on or off?
The light upstairs, I think, was on.
How about downstairs?
No, I didn't notice any lights on downstairs.
So did it appear to you that the lights downstairs were off when you first came out on that path?
I don't remember. The lights of the inside the house?
Inside the house, downstairs.
You guys really think he's hiding stuff? He's lying? He doesn't look like he's lying. He looks like he just is clueless and has no idea.
I don't remember if lights were on or off. I think it was dark.
After you got to that point on the path of the garage, strike that.
I think lights were on. God. I think the lights were on. Doesn't matter. I think they were on.
I just want to know what you remember. Are
I don't
you sure?
remember. I don't.
If
I'm
you
not
don't
for sure.
remember.
I don't know.
Okay. You're not sure if the lights were on or off
Correct.
downstairs?
Correct.
And I'm talking about the point when you first came out on the path and saw the limo driver.
Yes.
You're not certain?
Not certain.
Okay. You walked down to the portion of the garage that you've indicated with K1.
Yes.
Why did you stop there?
I was. My light wasn't working very well, and I was scared, and I decided to come back.
Okay. Was it very dark back there?
Yes.
So you came back out. What happened next?
Well, then I noticed the limo was still parked there, and I, well, geez, I should let this guy in. I guess he's waiting. So I pressed the button, and the gate opened up, and he drove up.
Now, why were you going over to that area of the garage at the southern portion of the property?
I was going to check on that noise.
And that's where you thought the sound came from?
Well, it was further down, but I never made it down all the way.
When you say it was further down, in other words, where? You mean by your guest house on
Yes.
that path?
Right.
When you turned around and came back from the garage, you went and opened the gate for the
Leave him
limo driver?
alone. him?
Yes.
He drove in?
Yes, he did.
What happened next?
He drove in and I got out of the car and I asked if OJ overslept or what was going on because it was getting late. I figured it was pretty late right now. He said he was coming up from Redondo and we had some, I can't remember all the dialogue, but I remember he came up from Redondo.
Okay.
Oh, and I asked him if we had an earthquake and I was trying to see if maybe we did. He goes, no, not that I'm aware of. And I said, well, I heard this noise and told him I was going to investigate it and I felt safer if someone's there, so I was going to check on it again.
So when you saw the limo driver was there, you felt safer?
Yeah,
And you thought you'd go and check on it again?
that I would, yes.
When you walked down the driveway the first time towards the garage area, right, and walked back, can you tell us if you noticed anything near the Rolls Royce on the ground?
There was a bag. I mean, it was like a knapsack, I think, kind of bag.
And where in relation to the Rolls Royce was it? For the record, the witnesses pointed to a B on the diagram. Is that where you think the bag was?
Yes.
Can you describe it a little better?
It was dark. I don't know the color. I imagine it was dark black or blue. And I thought it had a little brown leather kind of square patch.
Okay, you had a conversation with the limo driver.
That's
Yes.
good.
Talked about the
That's awesome.
earthquake. And at some point, did you complete the conversation?
Yes.
What did you do after that?
Well, even during that, I think it was during that I helped load up a golf bag in the trunk of the limo.
Okay.
And then I went back there. So it went a little further down the path. And then there's a gate that if I would,
So wait, you had loaded a golf bag into the trunk of the limo,
yes,
and then you walked back to the garage area.
yes,
And you went down to that southern portion that you've marked with a K1 earlier.
yes,
Did you have the flashlight with you?
yes I did.
And you indicated now that there's a gate there?
There's two gates, right?
Where's the
was-
first one?
First one's right about there.
Is
For the
she
record-
okay?
Why don't you put G? Actually, put a G1. Yes. There's a second gate?
G2?
Thank you. For the record, the witnesses placed G1 and G2. Okay, G1 is closer to the Rockingham exit, right?
Yes. It's not really working.
It's not really
I
working?
mean, you have to pick it up kind of to move it.
Is it locked? Kept locked?
No, it's just kind of leaning up against a tree.
The second gate, where is that in relation to your guest house?
How close is it to my guest house?
Yes.
About 10 feet.
And how do you open that gate, the second one?
It swings open. Sure.
This time, did you swing it open?
No, I got to the gate and I turned around.
Why?
I had this little pen light flashlight that was very dim and I was scared, so I walked back up.
So you never went all the way down to where you thought you heard the noises come from?
No.
I have here a series of photographs, Your Honor. Yeah, that's of our People's 9. They're labeled A through E.
All right.
Showing you the photographs that are marked, labeled A through E. I'm directing your attention now specifically this time to photograph A. Do you recognize the location being shown in that photograph, sir?
Yes.
What is it?
That'd be the back of my guest room.
The wall shown here is the back of your guest room?
Yes.
And the air conditioning unit that you see there hanging over the wall, is that the air conditioning unit that is in your wall?
Yes.
And that's the air conditioning unit near which you heard the thumps come from?
Yes.
So this would be the area that you were, and I'm
Victoria, you need a raise. I tried twerking tonight and I threw my back out.
indicating for the record, Your Honor, in photograph A, the walkway that is just before leading up to the air conditioner. This was the area that you never made it down to
Correct.
when you were trying to find out what happened on the wall that night.
Yes.
And is that the same area that's shown in photograph B?
Yes.
The fence that you can see in photographs A, B, and C, I guess, is that the fence that divides the property of 360 Rockingham from the neighbors?
Yes.
When you were attempting to go down to the south, that area shown on photograph A of People's Nine, were you trying to, was there a dog on the property that night?
Yes, there is.
What was that dog's name?
Don't you dare say sorry. We want her to be okay.
Chachi.
And were you with the dog that night?
Well, when I was going to go back down, I said, Chachi, come with me, and he ran away. I said, great watchdog.
So you went to the second gate this time, and then you came back out.
Say it again?
You went to the second gate,
Yes, up to it.
up to the second gate that leads to the area shown in photograph A of People's Nine,
Yes.
and then you turned around and went back.
Yes.
What did you do when you came back?
I came back to the front area, and
Okay.
We require 2 sub-sits and throw in a whole bunch of pro ses today. And some guy drunk in court would be nice.
The bag that you indicated, you pointed to that's labeled with a B,
Yes.
for the position, was that in an area of darkness?
yes.
Had you ever seen it before?
No.
When you came back, so you actually went down to the garage area, the southern portion of the garage area, twice.
Yes, I did.
The first time before you opened the gate for the driver,
Yes.
and the second time after you let him in and had a brief conversation with him.
Yes.
When you came back out from that area after visiting it the second time, who did you see out in the front area?
That was the limo driver, OJ, and myself.
You mean the defendant? You saw the
Yes.
defendant with the limo driver?
We were all outside.
What were they doing?
I think packing, getting ready to go to the airport.
Did you offer to go and get that bag that you marked with, that was marked with a B on this diagram?
That I was going to take it, pack it, yes.
Did you offer to get it for the defendant?
Yes.
What was his response?
He'll get it.
He said he would get it?
Yes.
I feel so bad for him. This is just the prelim, and he's already had enough. He's had enough questions. They need to give him a little breaky break, and I'm sure in the trial it's going to be much, much worse.
So you did not see the defendant come out of the front door?
No.
He was already out when you got back from the garage area?
Yeah, we were all outside.
Did you discuss with the defendant the earthquake that you thought you felt or the prowler that you thought might be there?
Yes, I did.
What'd you say?
I said, OJ, I heard this noise. I thought something might be back there.
Were you still pretty excited about that?
Pardon?
Were you still pretty excited and
Yeah.
upset about that?
Yes. So I said this flashlight, it doesn't work very well. And I need a better one, so I asked the limo driver if he had a flashlight. And he said no, and then I asked OJ, and he said, you go inside and we'll check for one.
And then did the defendant go back in the house?
Yes.
Did you go with him?
Yeah, I was behind him.
What happened then?
Went into the house, and then OJ said, "Is that the right time?" And I was behind him, and I said, "Yeah." So then he had to catch his flight, so I hurried up, got him good going, and I said, "Come on, you gotta catch the flight." So then he got in the limo.
Now, do you recall having a conversation after you told the defendant about the earthquake in which you agreed to both search the property?
Yes,
What did he say? What did he tell you?
that we check it together.
And then what did you do?
Oh, we're gonna get a flashlight, so I didn't get the flashlight. So I never checked on it again.
So
After
you
that.
did not separate and go and look around the property?
No.
Approximately how much time did you spend with the defendant at the point that you saw him getting ready to leave in the limo?
How much time did I spend with him before? 3 minutes. 3 to
Very
5.
brief contact?
Yes.
How did he appear to you at that time?
Hurried first flight.
In a rush?
Yes.
Did you have a lot of opportunity to watch him or look at him?
No.
Very brief contact?
Yes.
Did you see him get into the limo?
Yes.
Did you notice any injury to his hands?
No.
Which gate did the limo drive out of?
Rockingham.
Now that gate, do you know how it operates?
Sure. You press a button and it opens up.
And did you press that button?
Yes, it did.
Can that button also be pressed from inside the house? Can you open the gate from inside the house?
Yes.
When it closes, does it lock automatically?
Yes.
The front door to the house of 360 Rockingham, is that always kept locked?
Yes.
Do you know who has a key to that door, to that front door?
Which people?
Yes.
That I know was OJ and Arnell, and I think Gigi.
Did you have one?
No.
Gigi is who?
Gigi's a housekeeper.
Good game.
And you did not have one?
I do not have a key.
Does the strike that. If you wanted to get into the Rockingham gate without being buzzed in from the house, could you open it with a key?
The Rockingham gate, yes.
What about the Ashford gate?
The Ashford gate, you can get in other ways too.
Does the Ashford gate lock automatically?
It locks automatically, but there's a hinge that you can open the gate up that I use a lot.
So without somebody buzzing you in,
You could,
or a key, you could still get in?
yes,
Can that gate also be locked,
yes.
so that you would need a key to get in?
Oh, on the Ashford?
Right.
No, it's a intercom or a phone that goes direct, that they ring you in,
Okay.
but there's not a key.
But there's not a key?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay. Only the Rockingham side could be opened from the outside with a key.
There's a key there, I know the other one, that Rockingham, I know you need a key.
After the defendant left, what did you do?
Oh, I got back on the phone. I went to my room on the phone again.
Again? Who did you call?
Rachel,
Okay. Was that call interrupted?
yes.
How?
OJ had called and said that he forgot to alarm, so I should alarm the house.
The defendant called to say that you should set the alarm on the house?
Yes.
Had you ever done that before?
No.
So did you know how to set the alarm on the house?
No.
Did he explain how?
Yes.
And did he have to give you some instructions or a code or something?
A code.
And did he give you that code?
Yes.
And what did you do then?
Believe it or not, I got off the phone again, and I coded the house.
Okay. Had you ever been asked to do that before?
Sustained.
Can you describe the demeanor of the defendant at the time you saw him as he was preparing to leave in the limo?
I rushed first flight.
Seem angry?
No,
Depressed?
no.
Could you describe the weather that night?
It was about 65. It was
How about that weather we're having?
kind of foggy, I think. I mean, it was cool.
Cool night? Is that yes?
Yes.
Did the defendant appear to be hot or sweaty when you went out to McDonald's that night?
I didn't notice.
You didn't notice that?
No.
I object to that, drunken smurf. Hearsay.
What time was it when the defendant left in the limo for the airport?
I don't know the exact time, but I estimated about 11:15, 11:20.
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Kaelin, do you remember what the defendant was wearing when he was about to leave for the airport, when he was getting ready to get into the limo?
I'm not positive. I think it was a sweat outfit.
Do you think it was the same sweat outfit you saw him wearing earlier that night when he went to McDonald's?
Well, I couldn't say.
Overruled. Do you know the answer to that question?
No.
You don't know.
I don't know exactly what he's wearing.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Shapiro, are you prepared to cross-examine now, or did you want to defer that?
Your Honor, we would like to defer it after.
All right. It's approximately 7 minutes to 12, so I think that we'll simply break for the noon recess at this time and commence at 1:30. Sir, we will, at some point in time, have you be returning to the stand. I'm not sure exactly when that will be. I'm going to remind you, please, not to discuss your testimony with anyone except the lawyers in this matter. Thank you. You may step down. I'd like to see counsel in chambers just with regard to scheduling. We're once again on the record in the case of...
Okay, we should be at 12, and we are at 12. Oh, wait. Yeah. Tomorrow we're going to start here at 12. We started at 10 today. We did 10. We did 11. So tomorrow we'll start 12. This was interesting. I thought today was interesting. I think that maybe this trial's not going to be as boring as I thought it was going to be. I think it's going to be pretty darn interesting. Especially with Shapiro. I mean, it just seems like he's going to tick off everybody on the stand. I'm for it. I am for it. I can't. Courts are about to open and I need content. I need to get busy. Guys, thank you so much for spending the last 4 hours with me. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope your granddaughter gets better real quick. Go to the hospital. Kelly, I hope your surgery goes well. Lori, I hope you go to sleep. Go to sleep. Drunken, I'm going to need you to Google some stuff for tomorrow. Thanks. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm not going to do the intro or the outro anymore because I know when I go back and I rewatch a long court and it's a playlist, I just want it to stop and start, not big stuff in the middle. So, bye.